Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and we got a fantastic show coming your way today. I mean, we got one of my most favorite people in the world, other than my wife, who's my executive producer and co-host. We got Dr. Telishia Berry that's going to be joining us, and going to be doing some of the co-hosts today. But today, we're going to talk about courageous men stepping in 2023. I mean, and this 2023 is going to be a great year. And so I'm looking forward to it. And wherever you're watching the show at or listening to it at, whether you're watching on E360 TV, YouTube, Facebook, StreamYard, 25 plus other live streaming mechanisms, welcome to the show. I can't even start a show out without bringing on my magnificent executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm really excited about this show today. I'm excited about every show. This show, talking about the courageous men stepping boldly into 2023. And we have some amazing guests today. And as you know, you mentioned Dr. Berry. She's been on the show multiple times. Great friend, great person, great entrepreneur. So we're really excited about this show today.
Wow, I'm excited about it. And then, a couple of guys that we're going to showcase today, we're going to get an opportunity to get a chance to know what some of the things that they're doing, and going to talk about this great book that Dr. Berry is putting together called "The Heart of a Black Man." And I just want you to know that that's bestseller all the way. We haven't even wrote one lyric of it, but it's going to go there. So, um, and I also like to give a shout out to Dr. Diana Marie. How you doing out there? How you doing, young lady, over here in Dallas with us? Yeah, Michelle, I want to get this started because we got so much that we want to share with our listeners and our viewers. And why don't you start off by telling our viewers and our listeners the title of the show, purpose of the show, and let's introduce these three great guests. Let's introduce Dr. Berry first because she is going to be doing some co-hosting with us.
Oh, most definitely. So the title of today's show is called Courageous Men Stepping Boldly into 2023. And we're getting to know entrepreneur, author, publisher, editor-in-chief of Courageous Women magazine. Our special guest co-host today, Dr. Telishia Berry. We're getting to know philanthropist, entrepreneur, and public servant, Dr. and forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Latami Phillips, and Los Angeles event promoter and real estate specialist, Kevin Rouse. So let's tell you a little bit about each of these amazing people. Dr. Telishia Berry, she's the publisher and editor-chief of Courageous Women magazine, an inspirational publication that highlights extraordinary women in business and entertainment and provides media services to help women promote their products, services, and books. And she also has a magazine called Courageous Men. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about Dr. Latami Phillips. He was born and raised in San Diego, California, attended the University of Southern California, Los Angeles, receiving a degree in business management. He left the corporate world to fulfill his purpose. He started a nonprofit to feed students the third meal of the day and soon joined forces with Hunger Busters to increase productivity. He's worked with city leaders to bring awareness of student food insecurity within the Dallas Independent School District system. He's now the executive director for Hunger Busters and works with students to teach financial empowerment to young scholars. And let's talk about Kevin Rouse. Kevin Rouse is a Los Angeles event promoter and real estate specialist born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. He is the owner of Rouse House Entertainment, known for celebrity events and longstanding member of First Friday's production, and also with a realtor with eXp Realty of California, Inc. He is responsible for hosting the finest events in Los Angeles over the past 25 years. So we welcome all the guests today to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And Dr. Telishia Berry, she's our guest co-host, and she'll be joining us in a minute. And the floor is yours, Dr. James Cooley.
Wow, just like I said, I'm excited about this. I'm excited to have these young men on the show today to talk about some of the things they're doing. And always an absolute pleasure having Telishia on the show. She's been here several times, and she always bringing great inspiration. Always bringing great news on some of the things that she is doing. I think she is probably having cameras issues at this time, but as soon as we can get her back on, we will. But
I'm here. I got to go out and come back in. So,
okay. So
It's
in
crazy.
in the meantime, I'm just going to ask these two gentlemen a couple of quick questions, and now we'll start off with Doctor. Can you tell our viewers and audience a little bit about you that Michelle did not put in the bio because we only put a little bit in it? Hey, Doc. I don't
Start
know.
with me.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Latane Phillips. Originally, like I said, from San Diego, California. Big West Coast fan. Everything West Coast, Chargers, Lakers. Please don't fuss at me for that and hurt me. But essentially, what we've done is we've started a nonprofit, and the goal is to affect as many children and boys as possible, making sure that they're nutritionally fed, but at the same time, we want to feed the mind, body, and soul. And at the same time, here in Dallas, just loving being a husband and father.
Or we, and maybe one day soon we can hook up. So uh, I want to ask Kevin the same question. Kevin, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you?
Well, yeah, I was born and raised in Detroit. I came out here in 1981, moved up to the Bay Area, started doing events up there, and then eventually I moved down to Los Angeles, and I've been doing events down here as well as selling property, Los Angeles property, which is very, very expensive and lucrative. And also I helped, I just recently helped create a nonprofit foundation for one of my fellow promoters who passed. His name was Roland Work. So that's what I've been doing.
Okay. And now, since we got Dr. Berry back, Dr. Berry, you've been a previous guest on the show plenty of times. And just like I always say, you always bring joy to the show. You always bring something new. Can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you that haven't seen you on the James Cooley show before?
Well, thank you so much. First of all, thank you, Dr. Cooley and Dr. Michelle Cooley, for having me on again. I'm always appreciative to your show and all the wonderful things you do to support people and entrepreneurs and business. So thank you for allowing me to be part of your show once again. I am Dr. Telishia Berry, publisher of Courageous Woman magazine, an inspirational publication that highlights extraordinary women. And a few years ago, we decided, well, we've been asked so many times, men always ask, what do you have for us? And we always had just a women's publication. So in 2020, I decided that we were going to do a special edition just for men. And it was a really amazing edition. We've done several since. But during that time, it was during the time the murder of George Floyd. And it was the temperament of our communities were just like really bad at the time. And I wanted to hear what men felt about that at that time and how they were feeling. Sometimes our men don't get an opportunity to express, really how they're feeling. So I wanted to ask them, all the men that were featured, it was 20 men featured in that edition, and I asked them all how they were feeling. And it was amazing, their responses. So I wanted to make sure that I created a project, a book. I'm a book publisher. So I wanted to do an anthology that would encompass the hearts of what these men were feeling. And so I wanted to now gather some phenomenal men with extremely great businesses, and they're doing phenomenal philanthropic work in their communities. And so these are two of the men here, Dr. Phillips and Kevin Rouse. And Kevin Rouse is from my hometown, and I've definitely been to many of his events. He does first-rate events, a state-of-the-art event. So I definitely wanted to have him here and be part of what we're doing at Courageous Men. And Mr. Cooley, you have definitely been great for Courageous Men, been on the cover as well. So thank you again. So here we are now featuring men and doing what we do to support our brothers.
Wow, I'm excited about first of all the title, "The Heart of a Black Man," and the different stories that you're gonna get from each one of the authors that's going to be in this upcoming book that you're releasing, and just them telling their stories, because I believe that you cannot truly discover what's in the heart of every Black man the same way. Each one of our stories are different. And so I believe this is going to be an exciting project. I think the world is going to get a better understanding of, hey, uh, all of these things, whether it's good, bad, whether it's struggles, help defines the heart of a Black man. So I want to start off with Dr. Phillips. So Dr. Phillips, what was it like growing up in Southern California?
Excellent question. So it was essentially kind of like the movies that you see and about South Central LA. I'm from San Diego, so it was a great mix of immigrants and Hispanics, Africans, people from Asian countries, and we were all just together in a poor neighborhood, but we did not know we were poor. And that was one of the things that I love. I also love just being close to the beach. And then at the same time, it was 85 degrees every day.
85 degrees every day. Southern California, it is beautiful. So can you tell us about your journey to being a successful entrepreneur?
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes before the break, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of my parents are immigrants. And essentially, they were unable to work in their fields just simply because the United States would not recognize their degrees. At some point, my father said that, in his mind, it wasn't worth it, so he left. He got into a taxi cab when I was 2 years old. We never saw him again. So from that point, between my mother and my 5 other siblings, she did the best that she could to raise 6 children, but at the same time, being in America, being in Southern California, it wasn't easy. So for me, I like to tell people on accident, I got jumped into a gang when I was 13 years old. And what that did was that provided me some education that wasn't the best education in terms of how to be a man, how to handle your finances, different things like that. But at the same time, there were positive aspects of it because the gang protected me. And the gang also provided a source of income that I took care of my family. So I was essentially paying all the bills in my home at 14 years old. But there was a feeding program at a YMCA, at a rec center. And every day I would rush there so I could eat dinner. And I thought all you had to do was just fill out some worksheets and do some homework there, and then they would give you free food, not knowing that it was a nonprofit that was set up to take care of children like myself. So after going to college and graduating, working in corporate America, I always did like the standard things. I was feeding people on Christmas and helping out, doing things on Thanksgiving, and every so often wrapping up some food and giving it to the homeless. And then I started thinking to myself, children are hungry, and there's got to be a way to effectively turn it into a business. So started doing it monthly, from monthly turned into weekly, started looking into programs and grants and other things to figure out how to monetize it and make it into a true business. Started off feeding about 300 kids a week, and now we do 3,500 kids a day.
Wow, hold it though. We're going to take a station break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. Once we return, we're gonna talk to Kevin and find out his plight and his journey. So if you want to be part of this great conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any one of us any question that you want, and I promise you, I'll get it on the screen and we'll get you an answer. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
To know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, I meant to tell everybody grab about 7-8 bags of popcorn because it's kind of like the movies, and it's gonna get interesting, and it's gonna be some flop, and you find yourself digging in those bags of popcorn because we got some amazing guests on the show today. That's going to share their story, and then we got my girl, Dr. Telishia Berry. She's going to talk about this new project that she got going on. Not just that, but other projects as well. But we are excited about her newest project that she is doing. So, if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any questions that you want to, and we'll make sure we get to it. Kevin, I want to kind of get to you.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Okay, so can you tell me about some of your most fondest memories growing up in Detroit, and how did that lead you to be in the position and also the person that you are today?
I grew up in a close-knit family. I had a large family, and we all grew up in the same house. My mother and father, sister and brother lived on the first floor, and my grandparents and all my aunts and uncles lived on the second floor. So I had a whole wealth of different characters that all looked out for me and taught me, how to survive and prosper and succeed. So my childhood and growing up in Detroit was really a great thing for me. I grew up in the 60s. So it it was a fun time in Detroit. Motown was happening, all kind of things was happening, and that's, you know, that was a great time in Detroit. You know, you learned a lot of lessons that you could apply throughout your entire life back in those days growing up, and that's how I remember it.
Okay, so tell us about your event planning and all the other great things that you're doing. And first of all, how did you get to LA? I mean, coming from Detroit and
Yeah,
doing so many great things here.
well, back in 1971, my parents moved out here with us, and we came out here, and it was beautiful. I mean, you know, coming from Detroit, it's like an asphalt jungle. You got oceans, you got all this stuff out here, and we were out here right in time for the Sylmar earthquake, so they went back, took me back. I wasn't old enough to stay, but as soon as I got old enough, I moved back out on my own. I've been here since 1981. I first moved to the Bay Area, and then I migrated down to Los Angeles in like 1987. I've been here ever since. And I was also, I got into the hotel business. I was a hotel executive. And that was, even though I promoted a lot in the Bay Area when I was there, when I came to LA, how I actually got connected was I was a food and beverage director at the Lodge Hotel, which is now the London. And they opened a new restaurant, and the GM wanted me to bring jazz to that restaurant. So it happened to be a hotel where it was an industry hotel. So all of the actors and musicians, they all stayed at that hotel. It was famous for, that was a hotel that Suge Knight hung Vanilla Ice out the window at. That's the hotel it was. So we had all kind of celebrities staying there. So I started this jazz club in a place called the 1020, which was the name of the lounge. And I met everybody there. One of my best friends, Billy John, he was the band, and Billy was so good, he could play anybody's stuff. So, you know, anybody might walk in. One day, Lou Ross was standing outside, and the band broke into one of his songs. So naturally, he had to come in and sing. Same thing with Levert before he passed. Bobby Brown, Stevie Wonder, all these people would come there all the time. And all the promoters would come there. So all the promoters pretty much had to go through me, because I was not only a promoter, but I was the executive at the hotel who was letting people in. So that's how I got connected with a lot of the premier promoters out here, because for a long time I did my own thing without actually partnering up with anybody. But several of the main guys in Los Angeles came to that hotel, and I would be the one to let them get in and do their events there. So that kind of got me like a head start in Los Angeles, because I'm a Detroit guy. So that's how I actually got into it. And then we went on to do events. I've done some events in some of the wildest places. We're the only people who did a Great Gatsby event at the Malibu Country Club golf course. The only time they ever let anybody do anything on their green, we did it. Then we also went to the Music Center. We took our events. We had an all-black party, in attire that is, at the Walt Disney Concert Hall and Dorothy Chandler. We did that about 5 or 6 years in a row. Nobody had done that before, and nobody's done it since, because that's kind of like they don't just let anybody up in there. But we brought an audience there that was so positive that we could go back anytime, and we will be going back this year. 2023 is going to be a great year. We have several things going on. Right now, I'm in the midst of doing a New Year's Eve party, and I just had to put it on the internet that it's sold out. So we just sold out as of 11/13 today, and this is going to be a fantastic show. People are flying in from everywhere. It's going to feature Howard Hewitt and Loose Ends, and it's going to be a great event. It's great event, one of the best New Year's Eve events in the country. We voted ourselves #1 party city here in Los Angeles.
You know,
People say, well, how you vote yourself that? Because we know how much work we put into it. And we know that a lot of people don't put that kind of work into these events like we did.
man,
So
it sounds like it's gonna be a great event, man.
oh, it
I mean,
is. And then on the 19th, we're gonna hit them real hard with comedy. We have a high-end comedy brand. It's almost like where you can dress up. It's a date night. You can go out. It's going to be held at the fabulous Globe Theater downtown Los Angeles, a beautiful place. I've hosted several events there, and it's incredible. We're gonna start that on the 19th, and then we're also bringing back the highly anticipated First Fridays, because we finally found a fitting venue, because the venue has to fit for that event. And we're going to take it to Santa Monica to a place called Lulu, which it's really nice. It's the atmosphere is incredible. So that's what we'll be doing
wow,
for 2023.
2023 is going to be the year.
That's going to be the year. Every year is the year, but that's going to be a year to look forward to. We got a lot of stuff to look forward to. And I just sent out a big thank you for this year, because we had unwavering support. I mean, the people that come to our events are loyal. We love them and they love us, because they have supported everything we done last year and made us look really good, because it's no us without them. And we've had sellouts on just about everything we did last year. So
wow.
I'm happy. I'm happy that I can be I can bring something to make people happy. And again, a lot of our events are tied to charities. We give to the homeless. We give toy drives. We do all of that as well.
Wow. So I want to get back to Dr. Phillips, because a good friend of mine, Joshua Goldsmith, he's excited and he asked me a question. First of all, he said, "Happy holidays to all of us." I love to hear more about the Latume hunger buster, and how he is able to feed 3,500 students a day. Can you talk a little bit more about that, Doc?
Sure. Excellent question. Thank you for it. So we have a few things that we do a little bit more that are tremendously unique. So I tell people all the time, I am not a food bank. So if you were to show up at my facility right now, you're not going to see large amounts of canned goods and different things like that stored up. And the reason why that is because we have a fresh food model. So our day starts early and ends late. So in the morning, there are a couple of local bakeries around here, and we go around there and we pick up fresh bread. And it's kind of a food rescue program that I've pioneered, where when these bakeries and other places make items, whatever's left over, and as opposed to throwing it away, give it to us and donate it to charity. So we do that with a restaurant chain out in Texas called Eatsies. We're also in partnership with Panera Bread, and a couple of Jason's Deli and a couple other pretty large chains. And so that's where we get a lot of the fresh food and fresh ingredients. I don't believe that social determinants like your zip code or who your parents are should determine what type of meal that you get. So after we pick up these fresh ingredients in the morning, I've only got 3 employees. So how do we get 3,500 students fed? It's through volunteers. So the majority of my day is spent going to companies, corporations, churches, fraternities, sororities, community groups, and I ask them, hey, just give us 2 hours out of your day. And in that 2 hours, we have a commercial kitchen, and it's done in a very efficient assembly line type of process in terms of where we build the meal, we package the meal, and once everything's packaged up, that's where my 3 employees come in. Everything is bagged up into these large bags. They're put on delivery vans, and then we're in 11 schools in the West Dallas and South Dallas area. And that's kind of how we do it on a daily basis. Then as soon as the food is delivered, then we turn around at night, and then we hit a lot of restaurants when they close. And we get food that they're going to dispose of, but there's nothing wrong with it. And that's when we start the process. And then the following day, we go back and repurpose it, rebag it, and a whole new set of volunteers, and we're right back out the door to those students every day.
Wow. I want to hear a little bit more about that, but we're going to take a station break. But when we come back, we're going to talk to Dr. Telishia Berry, and she's going to tell us how how she came up with the title and the thought process for the heart of a black man. So if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask each one of these great people any question you want to, and I promise you I'll get it on the screen. We'll get you an answer. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll see you shortly after the break.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello. Hey, I'm James Cooley. I am the founder and CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunities, / Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build a foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, these great guests, great guests, I like to say, are really just telling about all the great things that they're doing. Especially when it comes to work, charity work, and feeding the homeless and just bringing love and happiness to everybody that they come in contact with. It's a blessing because I believe that we need more folks like what we got these great folks and guests on the show today. So I tell you, if you want to ask any questions at all you have to do is just go to the comments and ask. So just tell us what you think. Just like Joshua Goldsmith, he acknowledging you, Dr. Phillips, and that was fantastic. He loved your answer. So I want to kind of change the topic a little bit, and I want to kind of give the floor to Dr. Telishia Berry, because she is putting together these great authors in one of her projects, The Heart of a Black Man. First of all, Telishia, can you tell our viewers and our listeners how do you come up with this title and why?
Well, like I said earlier, when we did the first issue of Courageous Men, and it was during the time of when George Floyd was murdered, just the temperament of our communities was, just a state of protest. And I wanted to just hear what men were feeling, because this continues to happen to our Black men, this racial injustice, this murder, police brutality. And so many men have stories that may not have made it to the news. They have issues and situations. And, even my son is 31 years old, and I had to have a conversation with him. It was time. I didn't want my son to go out the house because of what was going on, even, where I live in California. And so I wanted to hear what the men's hearts and what they were feeling. And so that's how the project was inspired. by that situation, and just wanted to know what the men wanted in their communities and what they were feeling. So that's how the project started. And the heart of a Black man. Again, I wanted to hear the man's heart, so I thought that was the perfect title for the book. And so we've been gathering men and talking to men about their stories, and some of the stories are very, very heartfelt stories. And so this gives them, Courageous Woman is a platform. So we use a platform to help women share their stories, promote their products. And it's the same thing with men. And so we're looking forward to sharing this project. We're still open for authors. So if anybody is interested, just go to the website for it is theheartofablackmanbook.com to get the details of if they're interested in being a part of the book. But I wanted to ask the men some questions myself, if I can. I want to start with Mr. Kevin Rouse.
Okay.
We have similar backgrounds, being we was raised in pretty much the same place. I was born and raised in Flint, but grew up in Detroit and hit those streets in Detroit a lot. Most of my family is both in Flint and Detroit. And so I know.
My family had a business in Flint back in
yeah, you told me about that.
70s,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know the being a promoter, being in entertainment business, that's been my life, almost my whole life. I produced my first show at 17 and didn't know what I was doing. I just had a desire and ambition to promote and produce, So I did a talent show, and I had this wonderful show, all these acts, I was putting that act together, but I didn't understand from the getting the butts in the seats, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I didn't understand that part. And so I had this great show and only my friends were there. So it was a lesson for me and a learn. And it took for me to do that, go through that. Then the next couple of shows, producing plays, 2,000 seater auditoriums, we filled it up, sold out. But it was a lesson I had to learn. I want to ask you, in your journey, has there been lessons? What did you have to, we had some growing pains. What did you have to experience to give you a lesson to do something different the next time?
A whole lot of loss. Okay, a whole lot of loss. I mean, promoters, by the time you've been doing it as long as me, you've been in every kind of situation. And a lot of times situations can happen that are beyond your control. You could do everything right and then the weather mess up, or you could do everything right and then the venue do something wrong. Mm-hmm. So it just, what I learned from all those situations is to be completely thorough. Leave nothing. Don't take nothing for granted. Don't think that everything is taken care of unless you do it yourself. Me and I got a partner that think just like me that I work with, Don Derbigney. So me and him do everything ourselves. Sometimes we be clashing doing the stuff we supposed to do, because that's what we learned over the years, is that you can't leave nothing out there. The littlest thing can blow the biggest thing. That's what I learned since I've been doing this. And again, a whole lot of loss. I mean, you can start off and it look like everything is going to be great, and at the end of the day, your numbers don't say that. And it could be all kind of reasons why that don't have nothing to do with you. So you have to love this. You have to love it, because if you somebody that could get shaken quick, you got to have tough skin and a wallet to do this. But you keep on, going through these situations. Pretty soon you can foresee stuff. That's when it becomes profitable, because then you don't make those growing pain mistakes.
I get it. Now, one other question. You said you were raised by you were in the house with your grandparents. Mm-hmm. And so I get that too. I was raised by my grandparents, and actually they were the ones that brought me to California when I was 7 years old. And I loved it so much. I wanted to live at the Pacific Ocean. I was like, when it was time to go, it was a road trip. It was time to go. I was like, I'm staying here. Right. My granddaddy was like, you better get your narrow tail in this car so we can go home. I was like, I want to live in California. So that was my dream my entire life, that one day I'm going to live in California. On our way out of here, looking at the palm trees, I was like, this is it at 7. And so it was my son's acting career that got me back here almost 20 years ago. So, you know, in those lessons, I got so many lessons from my grandparents. What lessons that really impacted your life that you want to share with us today?
Well, again, my grandparents, they lived upstairs, but I also had my parents downstairs. So I had double parents. And then I had another set of grandparents that was over on Genesee Street, which was about 10 minutes from the house. So I had all kind of people. But what I learned from my grandparents that lived in the same house was they both in their own way taught me that anything that you could dream of, you could have. They taught me determination. They taught me not to quit. They taught me to hold my head up, and they taught me that no matter what you do, and no matter what that is, if it's mopping floors, if it's cleaning toilets, you be the best you can be at whatever that is. So that's what I still hear in my head from all my parents. I had 6 of them. And then I had a few more outside of blood that was parents to me. You know, so I've been blessed to have a lot of, you know, high wisdom people around me.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Phillips, thank you so much for being here. Just a conversation that we had previous to this interview. I was so impressed with your work and what you have done in your community. It's so awesome. And we really need more men, you know, stepping up. You know, I wanted to ask you, you know, it's hard being a leader, I'm sure. It is hard. I know what that's like. So it's hard sometimes, and the weight gets heavy sometimes. What keeps you motivated to keep going? And I know there's people that may come to you. People come and dump their stories and their life on you. How do you keep going, and how do you help keep other people going?
Excellent question, and thank you for having me on the show. So what keeps me going is I see myself in everyone. So when I talk to people and they explain to me what their situation is, there's a part of me in them. We're all interconnected in some type of way. And so when I listen to someone and they tell me their story, my humanity relates to something that they're going through. And I think that if you take the time and everyone that you listen to, you'll find something within them that you can relate to, which gives me a relentlessness to make sure that I can do whatever I can to help them. My field is something that it's never ending, but my goal is to put myself out of business. And so by doing that, that also keeps me motivated. And I'm a big believer in reach one, teach one. And so if I have the ability to see you, to talk to you and touch you, I'm going to impart whatever I can into you the best way I can, as long as they will allow me to do so.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. This life, again, you know, this is hard too, you know, and it's been a lot of years for me because I just decided I'm going to work for me. So I know, like I said, this is a hard journey, and you've had this journey and as an entrepreneur as well. And we've had hiccups. What have been some of the challenges that you've had to overcome that you look back and you're like, wow, those days I wanted to just quit, but you didn't. It was something in you that kept you going. For me, I have a why. I have my kids, and it's because I didn't want to go back to work for nobody. So what has been those hiccups, and what kept you?
I would say that the biggest hiccup I've had, or a disappointment, is friends and family. So when I got ready to start this, friends and family, everyone said that it was a good idea. We're going to help you. We're going to donate to you. We're going to donate our time. We're going to give you money. And then once I got started and said, hey, you remember you said you were going to do this? You remember you said you were going to do that? You know, those commitments just were not there. The second disappointment is the the journey from start to finish when you're dealing with corporate donors or looking for donations and grants, whether it be from a private foundation, city, state, or federal funding. So I have to look at it and look at the journey look at it not as a destination, but as a journey. And so the big thing I have to do is keep myself internally motivated. So when someone tells me no, my thought process is they just need more information so they can tell me yes. And so that's essentially like the big thing. I don't ever look at it as a setback. I look at it as an opportunity so I can do something differently in order to secure the funding, secure more volunteers, what have you. Those are probably the biggest things that I would say for anyone that gets into the entrepreneur track. Just like Kevin was saying, rely on yourself. You know the vision that God gave you. You know when you made the decision to start whatever. I know the decision I made to start this. I was in my right mind. So on those days where I feel like I can't do it, and I feel like that Johnny Walker or Jose Cuervo should be my best friends, I have to ground myself and say, hey, I made this decision, and I know that this is a decision that was best for myself and for the community and better society. So the way I look at it is every person, every child that I invest into, I'm investing in tomorrow, because every child that we take care of today essentially is going to be taking care of our generation or us later on. And so if I don't take the time to do it, then later on, we're going to be those people saying that this generation now is worse than the generation before.
Hey, Dr. Berry, hold your question. We got to take a quick station break. And when we come back, you still got the floor. So if you want to be part of this conversation, all you do is go to the comments, ask and one of us any question that you want. And tell you what, this is your life. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Fight again. And if you want my opinion, I'll let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, this is so interesting. Listening to these great guests tell their story and some of the things that they're doing and how that has influenced them and how it is helping so many others out there. And it's all about giving. It's all about having a heart, an open heart that you care. You care about others and you respect others, and that's just how that is. And so I'm gonna turn this back over to Dr. Berry, and so she can finish her questioning and etc. So if you want to be part of this, go to the comments, ask questions. We'll make sure that we get it on the screen and we'll get you an answer.
Well, again, I'm just grateful and honored to be here. Thank you again, Dr. Cooley, Dr. Michelle Cooley, for allowing me to be here with our project, The Heart of a Black Man. And the stories are so important. That's really the foundation of Courageous Woman and how I started Courageous Woman, just sharing women's stories. and they have been a blessing to so many people. I get so much positive feedback from some of the books that we published, some of the stories, and the authors have gone on to do amazing things, projects, other books, launching their own books, you know, because writing in an anthology, you're writing only a chapter and you're part of a body of work. But some of the authors have been so inspired and moved that they go on and write the full book. So I'm looking forward to a lot of these men who are going to write their solo project. So I'm going to be with them for the long haul. As long as they want me there, I'm going to coach them through. A lot of men say, I want to write my story, but I don't know how to write my story. I'm going to walk you through every step of what we do and be there to make you sure you a best-selling author. That's always my goal, is to make and see them shine and see them become best-selling authors. And I'm looking forward to it. Thank you to my team. I know they watching, Dr. Diana, Dr. Liddell, Dr. Chanel, so many people that are a part of our team and our staff. I mean, it's not just me. I can't do this by myself, but I have some amazing women and men that are part of my team that help us pull this off, to do what we do to support the authors and share their stories. So thank you guys for coming on and being part of the project too. And thank you all for having me. And I'm looking forward to working with you.
Wow. It's an absolute pleasure, Telishia. And I'm just happy that you asked me to be part of this project.
You're the first one to submit your story. Thank you.
You know, but I want to say something now, and viewers. Being a part of this project and chatting with Dr. Berry to write What's the Heart of a Black Man, that encouraged me to write the whole book, like what she just said. And all of that encouragement came directly from her. You know, so after we published The Heart of a Black Man, my other book will be coming out, which is predicated off the information that Dr. Berry has guided us with, and just her inspiration of reaching out and touching people and letting them know what's on your heart, letting them know what's inside of you, letting them know what makes you, you, and letting them know that before you, there was some generations prior to you that you had to pull from, that still resides in you. You know, so I encourage Dr. Berry that all of these authors that's going to be in this book, that they reach out and they write their entire book, not just a chapter, and just push it out there, because we have generations and generations to come, and I'm excited. You know, so an hour goes by real fast, but we got the better part of 2.5 minutes, and I want to get a quick 30-second takeaway from everybody that's on this show today. You know, a takeaway on what's in the heart of a Black man and what makes you tick. I know that's not a whole lot of time, but we want to start off with you, Kevin.
And why you start off with me? I had to think. I would rather you start off with some. What makes me tick? What makes me tick is again seeing people happy. What makes me tick.
What about you, Dr. Phillips?
You know, I'm kind of an anti-hero when you ask that type of question. You know, what's in my heart is pain. Pain from what I see my ancestors have gone through, what I saw my parents go through, you know, what we're going through right now in society. So the pain turns into love, and that love for people is what makes me want to do what I'm doing for our young Black boys, so that at some point we can start to change the pendulum a little bit, and them not have the same type of pain that I've had in my life and that I've seen, you know, our ancestors go through. So, you know, so that's my thing.
What about you, Dr. Berry?
You know, I like lessons. That's why I asked each of the gentlemen about lessons, because we get so much, lessons for me help move me. The things that I got from my grandparents, I was raised by my grandparents. So they're in me, and their lessons that they taught me have pushed me to where I am today. And so I love to hear people's stories about the lessons that they learned and where it's taken them. And, if they shared it with their kids. My kids call me Joe Jackson, because they said, all you do is push us to do things, but it's worked. So I love to hear those lessons and share those lessons. And I'm looking forward to publishing these lessons in this book, The Heart of a Black Man.
Real quickly, Telishia, 15 seconds or less. When do you think this publication might be out, and so people can get ready, because they're gonna have to grab a whole factory of popcorn in order to absorb all these great stories that you have, these great men that's gonna be in this book too.
The book launches April 1st, but we're talking all the way to now, and then there's still some openings for other authors if they want to be a part of the project. So we're going to do some phenomenal things, marketing-wise, book signings in different places. So it's going to be a very, very exciting time and opportunity for the men. If they got other projects, their businesses, it's a platform for them to showcase what they do.
Wow. I want to thank you, Dr. Berry. I want to thank you, Dr. Phil. I want to thank you, Kevin. I want to thank all of you all for taking time to come on the show today. I'd like to thank my executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley, who always put together great shows. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our listener audience for tuning in to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life Daily. I want to leave you with, I want everybody to always dream big, think big, most important, be big at everything you do. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life.